Good morning. We are going to learn about taking initiative matrix. If you're on Facebook, I actually have posted one of these on Facebook. So the thing is, there's so much to this that it's very good to have a teaching for it because there's so much more to explain. This matrix is only, I believe it's God inspired. And I believe that if you read it, then the Holy Spirit will start revealing things to you about yourself and even teaching you more stuff. But we're basically just going to spell this out today and go through it. So, man, real quick, let me talk about this. Man, we got to take responsibility. We need to take responsibility. And this right here, this changes everything. If everyone was to take responsibility for themselves, we could change the whole nation. Okay? If everyone would stop passing the blame on everyone else for everything that's going on, and just say, listen, what can I fix in myself? We could change a whole lot of things. My mom used to say, life is 10% of what happens to you and 90% of how you react. You can't control anyone else except for yourself. So, people's biggest fear is, man, well, if I take the first step, I'll be carrying everybody because nobody else is going to jump on board. Well, sorry to say, that's very selfish. And that's not love. That's just loving yourself. And so we're going to learn about that today. So we've got to learn. Oh, and also, it's the truth, man. People who love get taken advantage of. But, true love never fails. And true love never gets taken advantage of. It only gives. How can you be taken advantage of if you gave it to them? You know, it'd be equivalent of somebody walking in my house and stealing something, and I turned around and said, "Look, I know you stole that, but you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna give that to you." I just completely canceled the debt. You see what I'm saying? And also, I might have even created a bond of friendship, where this guy's like, "Whoa, this guy didn't press charges against me. He's just loving me, and he's just giving it to me," which is backwards from the world. But that's what Jesus teaches, man. Turning the other cheek and loving your neighbor as yourself and praying for your enemies and praying for those and blessing those who persecute you. So that pretty much boils down like the heart of the matter for initiative. So the first thing we're going to talk about is your level one. There's these initiatives, they have different levels. So level one, level one initiative. All right, so there's two sides of this. We have self-serving / fear. These people are they're all about self-preservation. Movies are made about this, the survival of the fittest. This is the animalistic side of taking initiative. Then there's also thinking of others and community and unity with your friends and your family and your community. And so there's a whole other level over here which causes a lot of self-sacrifice. This is self-preservation. This is self-sacrifice. So I'll write that up here real quick. Self-preservation. Self-sacrifice. That right there, man, that pretty much sums the whole thing up. But everybody takes initiative, man. Even the lazy person takes initiative. Okay? And we're going to explain that. So level one on the very far left when it comes to self-preservation. Level one initiative for this person is the avoidance of pain. Or work. And it's the pursuing of pleasure. This person takes initiative, man. This person will call into work and stay home and play video games all day. Okay? That's initiative. You know, it's just self-initiative. It's fear initiative. It's self-preservation. It's the avoidance of work. It's the avoidance of pain. They just pursue pleasure. All right? So this is level 1 initiative on the selfish side. You see what I'm saying? And it takes a level of initiative to be able to do this. You know? So people say, oh, I'm taking initiative. And they're right. They just have the wrong, twisted initiative. Does that make sense? Initiative simply means taking the first step. You take the first step towards something. And normally we think about it as in a positive way, but I'm trying to show that it doesn't matter where you are, whether you're selfish or you're loving, you always take initiative. And people, it's not that people lack initiative, they just lack direction and focus for their initiative. Okay? You know, and also, I'll erase this part, but it's the battle of the wills. And oftentimes people say willpower is the strongest thing. That's a lie. Because willpower sucks whenever you have 2 wills. Okay? I want to get up early, and I want to see the sunrise. And I want to spend time with Jesus in my quiet time at 5 in the morning. Right? So what happens is you stay up till midnight playing video games because you really want to play video games. So you have 2 wills here. You have a will for self-pleasure, and you have a will to worship God. But the thing is, your will to worship self outweighs your will to worship God because you chose to stay up late instead of waking up early. You see what I'm saying? And so, the battle of the wills. This is why it's so hard for people to quit addictions. Because the truth is, people want to continue to live for themselves, but try to cancel out an addiction. When the truth is, the problem is self. It's always self. The problem is pursuing pleasure for self. And so, that's why at the programs, you know, a lot of your rehab programs, they cut you off from the whole world. It's a self-dying process. You learn how to kill your flesh. You know what I mean? Even the worldly rehab has got that down. You know? Hey, you got to sacrifice everything to be able to do this. What we do at the barracks is that we teach that this is a continual thing. You don't just do it for 3 months or for 6 months or for a year. This is a life process. This is a lifestyle of fasting. Okay? A lifestyle of self-sacrifice. Jesus says, you know, if you should, you know, have eternal life, it says, pick up your cross and follow me. So there is a continual dying process, self-sacrifice every single day. If the thing is, man, our desires are evil. You know, our hearts, that's why we talked about this at a Bible study, or at a church one day, and we teach about this a lot here, about the heart issues. You know, Jeremiah 29, I believe it's Jeremiah 29. I'm not sure. It's Jeremiah something. It says that the heart is deceitful above all things. And so these are your desires. This is where your innermost being desires come from. And so you constantly have this battle of wills where you're pursuing your pleasures. And so then over here, this side suffers because we don't know how to kill our flesh. Okay? Alright, so the other side to the level 1 initiative is you are always looking for ways to help always looking for ways to help. You are intentionally being a blessing. In other words, you get on a job and you don't know what to do. And so your first level of initiative is you ask. Okay? My dad, when we grew up, he would always tell me, Zach, go do this job over here. And when you're finished with that, come ask me what you need to do next. And so I got trained as a youngster that I should always ask, hey, what can I do now? You know? And so this is a very low-level initiative. This is whenever you don't know what to do, you don't have the wisdom that's necessary to accomplish something, and so you just ask. Well, that's still initiative. It's low level, but it's every employer wants this. Now, sometimes, let's say you've been there for a year, and you're on a job and you're doing this now, they expect, the reason why they get agitated with these people oftentimes is because they're always asking and they're never taking the next level of initiative, which we're about to talk about. So these people get annoying if they've been there too long and they're still at this level. Okay? Also, some people will become what I call busybodies. They'll they'll run out of something to do, they'll piddle fart around for a minute, and then they'll go ask, hey, what else can I do? Instead of taking the second level of initiative and going further and beyond, it's almost like a time stall. They're just stalling time. I call it riding the clock when you're at work. Riding the clock or milking it. Milking the clock, that's whenever you have, if you're not careful, this can easily come over here, okay? It'll actually, you can easily swing from either side, easily. It depends on how much self you have in yourself and how much others you have in yourself, in your heart. Does it make sense? You can easily swing back and forth if you're not careful. That's why this is level 1. If you're not careful, these people will come over here and they'll ride the clock, okay? If they don't, this is part of the thing. You have to constantly be growing in this. If you're not constantly growing in your levels of initiative, you'll get stuck somewhere and you'll start to slide over here. You'll become someone who rides the clock. If you milk the clock, that's the same thing as stealing. People don't realize that. But let's say you have 15 minutes left and you just decide to wait there for 15 minutes and do nothing and just shoot the breeze and talk for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever. And you're like, there's nothing to do, so I'm not going to ask. So these people end up stealing money when they're working by the hour because this company is now paying them $8 an hour to do nothing. People don't think about that. Okay? So anyway, always looking for ways to help, intentionally being a blessing. You don't know the answer, so you ask. All right, so level 2. On the left side, these people, they see a problem. Okay? So they take initiative in the fact that they can actually see problems. But these people are, like I said, they're not very, they're not they're self-centered instead of thinking about others. So what do? They complain about the problem. They complain. They ignore. But they solve the problem. That's why it's level 2. Because they're actually, see, these people don't even see the problem. They just completely avoid the problem altogether. See what I'm saying? These people will see a problem, they'll complain about it, they'll ignore it, or they'll take a level of initiative and they'll dump it on someone else. Right? It's like when you walk home and you got a poopy diaper at the house, and the person who has level 2 initiative, they see the problem. Oh, he's got a poopy diaper. Hey, go see your mama. Hey, Sarah, will you change that diaper for me? That's dumping it on someone else, you know. But you see the problem and you want somebody else to fix it instead of you fixing it, especially if you know how to. Does that make sense? You dump it on others. And sometimes, if you're not careful, you can be running your own business, and these people may even begin to go up into management, and they don't know the proper way to delegate. See, delegation can be easily... Now watch this. People who are on this side automatically think that their bosses are just dumping. They don't believe their bosses are working. The reason why is because that's the way they think. All right, you're going to notice a lot of these... This is a lot of the... I'm going to talk about this. They're going to have what's called a mirror... They're going to have a mirror effect when they look at other people. These people automatically... On either side. No. On this side mainly. They automatically assume everybody else is just like them. Okay, so you have people like whenever World War II was going around, you have Hitler and Stalin. So when Hitler and Stalin were on they were allies during the war, but they were constantly afraid that the other person may backstab them. And the reason why was because they were both backstabbers. And they both expected the other person to do what they would do in that situation or scenario. Well, you're going to notice on this side over here, anybody who's on this side is automatically going to assume that their boss is avoiding work. Automatically. These people are automatically going to assume that when their boss asks them to do something, that they're just dumping it on them because they don't want to do it. And they don't see the power of delegation. They don't really understand delegation and the power of unity and working together. Over here, these people will understand delegation, and they'll understand that they're here to serve, and so if their boss asks them to do something, they'll be more than happy to do it because they're there to serve. And they know that their boss hired them for a reason, that they needed their help. And so they hired them, because their boss can't do it all. You see what I'm saying? And a good boss also will understand, I need everyone. He won't think he can do it all by himself. However, these people over here will think, I can do it all by myself. Okay? All right, check this out. So they don't really understand delegation is a heart issue. All right, level 2 over here. By the way, you'll notice these people are more violent about their power. These people are more humble about their power. Okay? These people will push for leadership because they don't trust anybody else to be their leader. Okay? So they're going to push and say, I can do that better. And they'll say that. These people, well, if I was the boss, I wouldn't let that happen. That's the kinds of people that these are against. If you ever hear somebody say that, well, I could do that better. I can't believe, man, if I was the boss, if those people say that, they're over here selfish thinking, they're self-preservations, and they're never going to be a good leader. And they're never going to really grow. And if they do grow, it's going to be by bad means. Okay? All right, so level 2 on the right-hand side. You see a problem. All right, so now these people are actually seeing problems. All right? They're not just asking about it. They have some more wisdom. They see the problem. And watch this. They come up with 1 to 2 solutions. They come up with 1 to 2 solutions, but they're not arrogant and they're not prideful. These people know that they're still learning. Okay? I like to look at these people as they're training for leadership. Okay? And they know they don't have all the answers. These people over here think they got all the answers. These people over here know that they don't have all the answers. Okay? That's the difference. The humbleness and the arrogance. These people over here, they'll propose, they come up with the 2 solutions, and they propose their ideas to leadership. They don't just take over, okay? They walk in humility, and they have a servant's heart. All right? And they're ready to submit to authority and the final decision. All right, so you see right here, oh, whoops. I'm sorry, I messed that up. I'm sorry, I messed it up. This is not level 2. This is level 3 I just went over. So let me erase this. Okay. Level 2 is you see a problem. Okay? You see a problem, and you ask about the problem. And for wisdom. To fix it. Like I said, these people are slower paced. They're slower paced because they're waiting for their boss to promote them. They're not going to promote themselves. Okay, these people, they're going to take initiative. They're going to ask about the problem. They're going to ask for wisdom to fix it. These people are literally training for leadership. And they understand that they have a lot to learn. Okay? All right, does that make sense? I messed that up, sorry. We're going to get to level 3 now here in a minute. But these, all right, so level 1 on the right-hand side, you always look for something to help, intentionally being a blessing. You don't know the answer, so you ask. You don't even know the problem. So you're asking, hey, what should I be looking for? See what I'm saying? Now these people, they see the problem. They're like, hey, look, what should I do? Do you want me to go do it? Do you want somebody else to do it? What's the best way to approach this issue? These people are trying to learn, and they're trying to figure out what their boss is thinking. They want to know, how does my leadership think about this? And I want to start thinking like them. That's what they're doing. They're submitting to the authority. Does that make sense? And also they recognize their bosses knowing what to do. These people right here, they don't think their boss knows what they're doing. The left-hand side, they don't think their boss knows what they're doing. The right-hand side, these people trust their bosses. They believe that their bosses know what they're doing. Okay? And so they are submitting to their leadership. All right? All right, now, level 3. All right, this one right here, this is the mass majority of people. Most people are right here in level 3. On both sides. The mass majority of people are right here. Okay? If they're at this level is what I'm saying. If people are... I'm sorry. Most of the people... No, I don't know if I would agree with that. I wouldn't say the mass majority of people here. I would say that they're pretty scattered about. So we're just going to keep going. See a problem? Okay, so level 3 on the left-hand side, they see a problem. Okay? And they compromise. They compromise integrity and love and humility to overcome the problem. Okay? So these people will cut corners. Okay? They're all about microwave solutions. These people expect their employer to take advantage of them. Okay? They expect their employer to take advantage, and then these people vow to never get hurt again. Alright? These people start their own business. They never want to be taken advantage of again. They are sometimes insensitive to the needs of others and are not willing to go out of their way to help, especially if they risk pain. Alright? These people may even own their own business but cannot retain employees because they don't know how to respect their employees. They don't know how to value their employees. So they'll run them off every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks. They can't keep hands. Okay? These people have a lot of initiative to get things done, but they're always thinking about themselves before anybody else. Make sense? Mm-hmm. All right? The same people over here are the ones that say, I want to go into business because I want to be my own boss. See what I'm saying? Why? Because they don't trust their bosses. They only trust themselves. These people have real trust issues. Okay? They think that the whole world's out to get them, and it's a really sorry existence. Okay? They often start their own business, as I already said this, and so that they can be their own boss. They are self-motivated but cannot grow or sustain growth. All right? And part of the reason why is because they're not necessarily trying to step on other people. Okay? They're not intentionally stepping on other people. They just choose themselves before they choose others. Okay? It's not full-out blown maliciousness. It's just, I'm going to serve myself and I come first. And if anybody else comes against me, ixnay. You know what I mean? So, does that make sense? They're the ones that look at an employee and they're not working hard enough, so they just immediately fire them instead of training them. You see what I'm saying? They just fire them because these people are costing me money instead of taking the extra time to develop and cultivate and teach. These people are not teachers. They got all the answers, but they don't know how to communicate. Okay? Does it make sense? Like, they're not teachers. Does it make sense? They're not teachers. And the reason why is because they were never humble enough to be a real student. They just think they know all the answers. Make sense? Cool. So level 3, on this side, they see a problem. Okay? And they come up with, I already talked about this, but I just messed up and talked about it on level 2, but they come up with 1 to 2 solutions. All right, these people right here, they're thinking for themselves, but they're humble enough to propose these ideas to leadership. They always are willing to take correction. The Bible says that a wise man will take correction and become wiser still. These people are wise. These people come up with solutions. They might not know everything, but a real wise man doesn't have to know everything. A wise man just has to know how to take correction, because they'll become wiser still. All right? So they come up with one of two solutions. They propose to leadership, and they are ready to submit to the final authority. And, if the authority says, no, that's not going to work, they don't get offended. They just say, okay, so how does what I'm giving you not, promote your vision? You see what I'm saying? These people really care about catching the vision of their boss or their authority. You see what I'm saying? They do not press their own agenda. Okay? They do not press their own agenda. Okay? And these people are still under authority of some sort. Okay? And a lot of times these people are, they are like your store managers. And then there's like this middle level between here and here where they actually have permission from their boss. These people, their boss trusts them to make decisions. And also they trust them to make mistakes. And if they make mistakes, to learn from their mistakes. Make sense? So these people, they should be taking some risks here and there, as long as they feel like they're not going to hurt their boss. Does it make sense? As long as it's not hurting the vision. So they'll come up with a solution, and then they'll start taking some risks. Does that make sense? And these people are humble enough that their boss trusts them with making mistakes. That's pretty cool. Because they know that they have the best interest for the company in mind. Does it make sense? They trust them to make mistakes. These people are catching vision. They want to know the heart behind it all. You know what I mean? What are we here for? What's the purpose of what we're doing? These people know the purpose of why they're doing what they're doing. All right, so then we got level 4. All right, on level 4, on the far left side, you got your malicious and manipulative people. These people are intentionally hurting other people to retain their power. Okay? Manipulative, malicious. They think that the only safe place is at the top. Woo. They think the only safe place is at the top. They get to the top by stepping on others. They intentionally hurt others to protect themselves. These people create large followings based on fear and create unity revolving around common hatred. All right, this is, and you can see people right now in our leadership in our country. I mean, almost everybody's right there. You know, they believe the only safe place is at the top. They create large followings based on fear and create unity revolving around common hatred. These are dangerous people. Do you have a question? No. These are your Hitlers. These are your Stalins. Hitler created a large following based on fear and created unity revolving around common hatred. And these people get stuff done. They get a lot of stuff done. They're great leaders, but they have a bad heart. Okay? And they're corrupt. So, and they have leadership tendencies. I mean, what defines a leader is somebody following you. That's real leadership. You know what I mean? That's all it is. Somebody's following you. So people will play on people's fears, and that's how they get it. Now these things don't last very long. Usually, there's a huge crumbling of the entire enterprise eventually, because of scandals and things that happen, and they have very big fallouts. When these people finally come crumbling down, it's huge. Okay. All right. This one right here on the right hand side, they will not allow adversity to discourage them. Failure is not an option. Now, we're not talking about a fear here. We're talking about they just aren't going to give up. You know what I mean? They don't care how many times they fall down. They're going to get right back up. Failure is not an option. These are people like Dave Ramsey, who went bankrupt and said they had this slight fear over here, okay? I'm never going to be poor again. But at the same time, they do it a godly way. Make sense? And so they know the importance of taking risks. They know the importance of stepping out. And Dave Ramsey has blessed many people with his teachings on how to be financially stable. See what I'm saying? He's not self-preservation, really. He's about helping others become safe. See what I'm saying? And it's not about stepping on others to take their... Does it make sense what I'm saying? Sometimes fear is the beginning of wisdom. And so, if you're not careful, you can go down the line of fear over here. But fear is the beginning of wisdom, which should turn you into love. Make sense? You're like, man, if I know the true way is love, love never fails, then it'll really take you down a good road. But fear is always the beginning of wisdom. Love is the completion of wisdom. All right, and by the way, Dave Ramsey teaches a lot about being generous. He doesn't, see what I'm saying? That's different than over here where people aren't being generous. Okay? And being generous for the right reasons. Not just so you can get a tax break. See what I'm saying? You're literally being generous, and if the person never sent you a slip back, it would be okay with you because your heart was just to give that money anyway. Make sense? Now, I'm not saying we shouldn't take advantage of tax breaks. I'm not saying that's not a good idea. What I'm just saying is that if somebody didn't write you a receipt back, or if somebody didn't tell you thank you, it wouldn't matter, because true love seeks others, not yourself. Even to thank you. I know that's kind of weird, and rich people might not like what I just said, but like true love, man, is I'm going to give it to you whether or not I get anything back. That's true love. So, will not allow adversity to discourage them. Failure is not an option. Do not wait for anyone. They always, but watch this, they don't wait for anyone. They take the risk. It's more of an attitude of not waiting for anyone. Because they always seek counsel. Because they're wise. A wise man seeks counsel. So these people, they don't wait for anyone, but they always seek counsel. These people will start their own companies. They'll take high risk, but they've calculated the cost and they're willing. So I wrote on here on this sheet here. They'll go to their higher levels. Now, when you're at this level, normally there's not many people above you in your company. But these people didn't get here without mentors that are on the outside. So these people will go on the outside to mentors and tell them their ideas. And they'll confide in them. By the way, these people might not ever do that. These people, and there's a level of discretion, by the way. You don't want to just tell everybody about your risk. Because sometimes faith kills it. Lack of faith kills what you're doing. But these people, they're very secretive. These people, they'll be open with their other mentors and leaders. and they're going to seek counsel. They go to their peers and their insiders, their assistants, and they say, hey, what do you think about this? Why? Because they value the lower level. Okay? They value the lower level. They value their peers. They understand that they need everybody to work with this. Now, they may not give those people a vote, but they may send out a survey saying, what do you think about this? Or, hey, if you could change one thing about this company, what would you change? These people seek the counsel from the lower levels because they value their lower levels. Okay? They're always going to say to their employees, man, did I give you everything you needed to be successful? See what I'm saying? Before they pass judgment on this employee that didn't do their job right, they're going to say, listen, did I equip you well enough? They always hold themselves responsible before they hold the other person responsible. These people always judge themselves and their ability to follow through before they judge someone else's ability to follow through. They plan and prepare, and then they instruct the lower level, and they're confident about it. They just tell them, hey, this is how it's going to be. This is what we're going to do. But they are truly a servant of all. They empower other people. They empower others, which is a risk. Because if I was to train you how to basically run this company, you could go start your own company. That's a risk. These people don't do that a lot of times. These people are micromanagers. They won't empower anybody. Okay? They have to have their hands in everything. See what I'm saying? These people right here, they know the power of empowering of others. And that's really where what delegation to them is all about. Over here, they think that delegation is just dumping. But over here, they believe that delegation is an empowerment tool. Where I can say, hey, I'm going to give this guy a shot to be a leader and to take initiative. And if he is successful and follows through with this delegation I gave him, I'm going to start considering him a leader because he followed through. These people take the risk of handing something to somebody else for them to make a mistake on. And they're willing to take the mistake so that they can develop a leader. Okay? These people are leader developers. This level understands that there's no such thing as autonomy. These people know that they've got to answer to someone all the time. They answer to their wives. They answer to their assistants. They answer to their employees. And they, number one, answer to God. And they know that they will be held to a higher standard. So, anyway, there's an initiative matrix. And how everybody takes initiative. But it depends. And you know, when people get stressed out on this side, they'll revert over here. They're like, oh, I don't know what's going on. And so they'll start to complain. Like, right? So let's say this person doesn't really have a heart of serving. And they come up with an idea, and their boss shoots it down. They're like, I can't believe they just shot that down. Now they're complaining. They just lowered the level of initiative down to lower level number 2, and they flipped to the other side. Now they're complaining about their boss. Man, my idea was a good idea, and they shot it down. Those people weren't really here. They were still here. You see what I'm saying? And it has to do with levels of stress. These people may get over and be like, you know what, I'm sorry. And they can say, you know what, I know my boss, is really thinking about me and thinking about us. If they can pull themselves together, they'll switch back over here. But the moment they feel like they've been taken advantage of, or, well, this person doesn't respect what I think, they've lost vision and they come over here and they become a grumbler and a complainer. Anyway, even like, let's say your levels of leadership, let's say you're right here and you see a problem, you ask the problem, and for wisdom to fix it, but your employer, your supervisor, is over here, and they're trying to cut corners all the time. These people will sometimes can flip over here, and they'll say, man, my boss is just trying to take advantage of everybody, and they'll succumb to this bad leadership, when the truth is they should just stay right here. Always be humble, even if their boss is no good. I know it's hard to do, but the truth is this person will eventually fail, and this person will move in their spot. It takes patience. This over here takes patience. Every fruit of the Spirit right here is demonstrated and tested. All the selfish stuff's tested over here. Cool. So there you go. Initiative matrix. Thank you, Jesus.